the case of President Akufo Addo, he made his position known to everyone. Everybody in this country.
Oh, he did?
Oh, on Al Jazeera. He didn't even speak in Ghana. He said it was bound to happen.
But bound to happen in the future.
No, which future? He said, and he went on, and that's why I realized that President Akufo, where was he coming from? He said, when we power pressure, there hasn't been too much. He was even giving clues.
But that's a normal political process.
Well, how can the president of this land say that? You go and sit on Al Jazeera, you are pleasing the Western world that it was bound to happen. The pressure was that low. They must increase it. When he said that,
but Solo, he didn't ask that they should increase.
But
you know, because when he was doing that, yeah, he didn't say that.
He's the reason why we are discussing this topic today.
Yes, I said that.
He and his government, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, that he wants to praise. They are the reason why we are where we are today. After that, what did we witness? We had an advocacy center, resource center for LGBTQ opened in this country. The Australian ambassador had got the nerve.
The previous one, not the current one.
They all think alike.
Yeah, okay.
But the previous one went to the Speaker of Parliament to even further the discourse that, look, LGBTQ was a matter that the country must adopt. And Speaker Bagbin told him that he was not going to be assailed. I don't know why Speaker Bagbin too is also of late quiet on this matter. You understand? So that was when Ghanaians became alarmed about the situation. Remember the NAPO situation that we were discussing, where they were trying to push those sexuality education here and there. So the NPP must be the last political party to be talking about it.
Oh, but Dr. He just told you that
sometimes I don't get him. That you know very well that your records are not good. So if I were you, what I would do is that you will come here on the poster of Mr. President, please, we suffered on this. Don't go on a tangent. Try and then fast track it. You win some sympathies from the people of this country. You don't come and sit here and pretend as though we have forgotten only last 2 years. Anytime I see President Akufo, I remember LGBTQ.
Really?
Anytime I see him, I remember LGBTQ. Because...
So are you for real on this matter?
Absolutely. A president that got the bill. The bill was sitting on his table that he was supposed to sign. Remember, at the presidency, it's one ticket. It means the bill was also on the table of the vice president, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia. The two of them refused.
Oh,
it's one ticket.
I mean, if you take the laws of this country, the one who signs ultimately is the president. You can't link that to Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia. So, and in fact, going by practice, his faith, just as President Mahama, does not allow that. So let's, you see, sometimes you always want to dodge the vice president from all. You have the Constitution. Is that the Constitution? So let's go into the presidential oath and the vice presidential oath. Oh, okay. And let's see whether there is a difference between a vice president and a vice president. You see, the oath that the president takes, he says, I, in this case, then was Nana Akufo Addo. Yes. I, Nana Akufo Addo, having been elected to the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana, they even mention the name of God. These people, the name of God, solemnly swear that I will be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana, that at all times preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Ghana, the Republic. I won't go down, but go to the Vice President. The Vice President, okay.
The Vice President, I, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, having been elected to the office of the President, doing the name of the Almighty, he said Allah. You see, we are even using Allah and God here. So I will affirm that I will be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana. The two of them, what's the difference? They swear one oath. And it is the reason why no vice president's face appears on a ballot.
We still had issues with education. We still had issues with healthcare. We had issues with youth unemployment, isn't it? But it became topical. The issue became necessary. It became a priority. And pastors were even assembled. And they laid hands. I'm sure they even poured anointing oil on our president. And our president stood before them, declared his faith as a Methodist member, invoking the tenets of Methodist Church.
Assemblies of God.
Assemblies of God. Yes. Invoking the tenets, the belief, the practices, and the faith of Assemblies of God. Yes. To tell them, as for me, I'm a Christian, and I will sign or make sure are sent to the LGBT. Let me finish. LGBTQI whatever.
I'm asking the question that what can you point to prove to us now that the NDC indeed promised or made that campaign promise that they were going to pass an anti-LGBT?
I will get there. The promise told us. The president told us. He's a member of the Assemblies of God. And his faith,
God Church, yes.
His faith,
yes,
does not support homosexuality, isn't it? And that he would sign the bill. If in opposition, we were bedeviled with all these challenges we are speaking of today, yet it became necessary and topical and important simply because we wanted political power. We win the power. Use your influence, the powers you have today, the numbers you have in parliament, to get us your promise as an Assemblies of God member, and you tell us that Ghana needs roads, Ghana needs schools,
yes,
Ghana needs employment,
yes.
So it is not a priority. Then you did not even have, let me finish please, you did not even have the interest of Ghana at heart when you're in opposition. The same way your minister also did not have our interest except to pay his dues to you, the president, and your party, because our problems, you all did critical thinking, reasoning.
But you are,
if you go to Legon, one of my favorite courses, please, one of my favorite courses at Legon was critical thinking and logical reasoning.
Obviously,
I don't have to tell you in verbatim, what I want to tell you, but for you to decode what I mean.
But what I'm
saying that when people were demanding the sector minister to come and answer to the promises and the things he said, he said you can bring the videos all you care. At least he has paid his due to the president and the NDC. What does it mean?
I'm saying that in
what does it mean? What does it mean?
Yes, but can I come in with the question? I'm saying that in the context of rule of law, then if we're applying that to logic. What you're laying emphasis on what's not been said. So that's
and I'm saying that as someone, I'll give you the evidence. I've given the evidence. I've given you the evidence. And as someone who has sat.
No, so just tell me, where did the NDC say?
NDC doesn't need to tell you.
Social contract.
NDC doesn't need to tell you.
Why are you warning the host?
NDC doesn't need to tell you. NDC doesn't need to tell you.
They don't have to tell us.
They don't need to tell you.
How then do we form that?
You need to sit in critical thinking and logical reasoning class.
I get that.
UGRC 101.
Yes.
For someone to tell you something, the deductive and inductive reasoning points to the fact.
But I'm asking
the people made it a priority. The people make it a priority.
Or what's not being said to you?
Was it a priority in opposition to the NDC?
So what I'm asking you.
Was it a priority?
It came to the president.
Was it a priority? No, the opposition then, not Akufo Addo. There's a reason why he's out of office today. There's a reason why Ghanaians voted the NDC. Okay. I'm asking you, was it a priority to the NDC in opposition?
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Was it a priority?
You see, that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking you the question.
To you. No, so if you are not ready to answer my question, let me proceed.
No, so that's why I'm asking you the question.
Are you ready to answer my question?
Yeah, but
was it a priority to the NDC? Was it a campaign tool for the NDC?
But you get my
point. Was it a priority? Was it a priority?
You have to form a basis. The
bases are formed if you allow me.
Evidence to show that
my evidence is there. My evidence is there. That in opposition it was a priority. Otherwise, why would it be a campaign tool?
Where is the promise? Just show me the evidence.
The promise was that the president told us that even what we had under Akufo Addo was a private sponsored bill. And when the NDC even comes, it will not be private sponsored bill.
It will be government.
It will be government sponsored.
Oh, he said that?
And yes. It will be government sponsored. In fact, I'm an Assemblies of God church member. In fact, I have so much. As for me, I'm a Christian. As for me, you pastors are my papas.
You're not inferring.
For me, that's what the president said.
You're not inferring.
That's what the president said. That he belongs to the Assemblies of God. And he's a Christian. Didn't he say that?
Yes.
And the pastors laid hands on him.
When?
And prayed for him. And he went to Kumasi to have another session with the pastors in Kumasi. All trying to put his Christianity before us before elections. And assured us, Sammy, assured us
when did he say
that as for him, he will not even rely on the MPs. No. MPP's time, it was Honorable Sam George and Honorable Ntim Fojo who were even sponsoring the bill. When we come to show leadership and to show our willingness.
When did he say that?
To show our willingness. In fact, we are going to make it government-sponsored bill.
So you see why now I'm asking you.
You put a question to my brother. If it was a priority to government,
not answering any of your questions. Though.
If it was a priority to government, right? You put a question to my brother. Do you know how many certificates of urgency the president has passed through parliament? Do you know how many? In the last 1 year, 3 months? 33. 33 certificates of urgency. When they wanted to pass the Doomsday levy, do you know how long parliament sat?
How many hours?
Parliament passed the bill for Doomsday levy around 1 to 2 a.m. It was a priority of the government. That when you wanted to impose an obnoxious tax on Ghanaians, you saw the need to go under certificate of urgency, got the bill to parliament, tasked your parliamentarians to stay in parliament. Those who had not taken their shower were still there.
Hey, how do you know?
Those who were hungry and were thirsty were still there. And I believe at least some had hypertension and diabetes issues and had to go home early enough, eat and take their medications. But they had to sit in parliament till about 2 a.m. To about 2 a.m. to exhibit and demonstrate how much the government takes and reveres the Doomsday levy, taxed your numbers in parliament to sit till 2 a.m. to pass Doomsday levy. If it was a priority of the president and the government, and he still holds the belief of the Assemblies of God Church, right? At least out of the 33, we are supposed to see a semblance of anything LGBTQIA plus in those bills, right? But the issue has been tabled by Honorable Ntim Fojo in Parliament, and miraculously, contrary to what my brother was trying to avert, that hasn't the process started and what not in Parliament, miraculously, in the business of the day that is tabled in Parliament daily for Parliament to consider, the bill miraculously finds its way out of the business of the day. And Reverend Ntim Fojo has stated categorically that contrary to claims that a certain bill has been referred to a certain community for certain consideration at the committee level, he, as a member of the committee, is not privy to anything that has come to the committee. There is no discussion. There is no discussion on the matter. And Felix once again communicated to end what the president believes, what this government believes, that all of a sudden LGBTQ+, which became a topical issue, and contrary to all the problems we had as a country, was a priority to the opposition, campaigned on it, invoked religion and religious lines to campaign and want political power. They are making a complete U-turn today. It is not their priority, and Ghanaians should look for it.
Blessed, let me say good morning to you and to our friends.
I cannot even wait to speak.
You see the propaganda. Blessed, I think for the sake of...
He's coming in peace today, so please.
for the sake of cultural preservation, I think it is very important to, insulate ourselves from some of these emerging insanities, this LGBTQ, blah, blah, blah. Because if you go to our homes, LGBT is undergoing a certain silent normalization process, a social normalization process in our homes. Because if you tune into Netflix, you have some of these things on your TV. If it is cartoon, so it's a way of the sponsors trying to push some of these things across so that it will become a social norm. It will become some sort of a reality. Because if you go to Netflix today, all the movies that have been coming since 2022, all of them, almost about 90% have scenes of LGBT, lesbianism, those kind of. It is a way of, normalizing it in our social context, and culturally people will accept it. So I think it is very, very important that for the sake of our cultural preservation as people, we must do everything, make sure that we stop it, because we have demonstrated across the political divide that we are not in for some of this emerging nonsense, you understand, and that is a fact. So the question is, what is the debate on the table? I don't think that there is any serious issue on the table that should warrant the sort of reaction that is going on. The reactions seem to be an overkill for me, because
really? So
yes, yes, it's an overkill, because first of all, you need to interrogate the facts. because the fact must always synchronize with the sort of debate and the discussion that is going on. But there seems to be some sort of a disconnect in this particular regard. First of all, the NPP staged a press conference and admonished the president to sign a bill. So the question today is that if the president is ready to sign a bill today, what is he going to sign? Because the same bill is undergoing a process in Parliament, and that process is not done. Parliament as an Parliament...
Is that not a veil? Is that not becoming a veil?
No, it's not a veil, because if you understand governance and how bills do emerges, they always go through parliamentary process. So once...
Nobody is doubting that. Yes. As fast as 1 hour.
But my point is, now that the bill has not matured, what should the president sign? A Quran or a Bible? You understand? The bill must mature, being transmitted to the president. If it goes to the table of the president and he decides not to sign, then we can legitimize our argument and say, hey, the thing was on your table, your campaign, failure to sign will be a sort of debate that we can have.
He just told you that as many as 33 certificates.
No. You see, that's why... I don't know if you paid attention to the beginning of my argument. I'm telling you that the sponsors of some of these things have deliberately, culturally trying to normalize it within our homes. There are several other portions that we are overlooking. We can come out with LGBT law, you can't do this, you can't do this, but does it take into consideration some of these things on our screens? The cartoons imagine, does it take into consideration? So we need to properly walk through the bill, meticulously situate in the context that will fit our cultural sort of this thing.
So you're saying that when it comes to only the case of the anti-LGBTQ bill, we shouldn't rush it?
No, that is not what I'm saying, because I'm not part of the parliamentary process. You understand? There might be reason for this. No. I'm saying that because over the years, I've been a strong advocate.
For instance, what more work would we need if there's by the legal implications, a law is dead, or it is dead or expiring with the previous parliament, right? That's fine. But a lot of work has gone into that. We can just go back and pick that document and apply it today.
Yeah, it's possible, but I'm saying that it depends on, you see, you need to go through a normal process.
Yes.
Whether the bill has been done or not, you must walk through that fine line of a process that is often done in Parliament, just to make sure that it goes through the process, matures, and then transmitted to the president. So my point here is that until that process is done, because yesterday I listened to the Speaker of Parliament and he made some revelation that they are working on the bill. The bill is not ready. And once the bill is not ready, you cannot transmit to the president. And has the bill been transmitted to the president and he has decided not to sign, when we get to that point, the NPP's press conference can be rationalized within that particular context. But until that, this particular press conference becomes some sort of a useless political undertaking. That's how I see it, because what is he seeking to achieve? Asking the president to sign a particular bill. The question is, what bill?
Were you in this country when Sam George was holding press conferences?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But the position hasn't changed.
But that wasn't a usual...
I am saying that sitting here, I want that particular bill to be signed.
Yes, but I'm saying that then it wasn't a useless or fruitless...
No, I'm saying that at the time, the bill was done, was transmitted to the president, and they used certain games to obstruct the process.
Started even before the transmission of the bill.
During the debate, I think they were back and forth with the process. With the process, you understand? So today, so I was expecting the NPP to be able to make some revelation that the bill undergoing that process in Parliament, maybe there is a certain deliberate attempt, to sweep it under somewhere. If those revelations have been made, then we can have a genuine concern. But now the process, the bill is undergoing a process. There hasn't been any deliberate attempt to stampede or block it. The Speaker of Parliament yesterday made that revelation. You understand? So until that is done. But in the previous instance, what happened was that Parliament was done, the bill matured, it was supposed to be transmitted to the president. In our part of the world, if you're an executive president clothed with such powers and you want to sign a bill, no court can stop you from ascending to the bill. You understand? Once it is done and some contravention of final infractions, then you can go to court and render it nullified. You understand? But these people deliberately, the executive president, the executive secretary to the president, infamously wrote a letter warning the Speaker of Parliament not to transmit the bill. You understand? So these were the genuine concerns that we had. We are here having this conversation because of the overtures of the previous government. Because if they had done and the president signed a bill, maybe we wouldn't be having this kind of a conversation, you understand? So that is why I'm saying that even the moral audacity to hold this press conference alone is problematic, you understand? But unfortunately, our politics is there are a lot of people who have no shame. They can do some of this because...
Okay, where's the double standard? This is the same individual who was part of the private members bill in the previous administration. Against his own government, who tabled the bill in Parliament. So why are you accusing them?
No. So my point is that
of double standards now. No. He was an integral member of the process then, because he submitted.
First of all, I have an issue with a gentleman who led this particular press conference because that he has demonstrated that he's a very dishonest person. Because when he alleged that cocaine...
but that's inconsequential on this
I'm saying, you see, the credibility of the person is very, very important. And again, the gentleman is part of the process going on in Parliament. He is privy to details which you and I are not, you understand? He's aware.
So when he comes out of Parliament to tell you that there's no urgency, you don't want
to make sure...
Urgency, so my mother should go and push it and make it an urgency. You are sitting in Parliament, you understand? As a parliamentarian, you should be part of the process, push it and make sure it becomes an urgency, because sitting here, I want that particular bill to be passed.
The saying goes in Parliament that the minority can have their say, the majority will have their
No. Not
two-thirds majority for the NEC.
The maturation process. You see, the majority will have their way when the bill is ready and Parliament is voting on it. That is why the number will be the disadvantage. But that point we haven't even gotten there. So my point is, this thing is an overkill. And you see, the Catholic Bishop Council conferences, their concerns are very genuine, but I'm saying that the energy being pushed into some of these things should rather be channeled to making sure that the bill is properly structured so that it addresses some of these social concerns. Because I have listened to a lot of debate going on. Nobody has availed his mind to the cartoons, to the Netflix videos and those, because these are the incentives that will push people into some of these pedestals, you understand? So we need to take our time, hasten slowly, but this emotional overdrive that everybody's...
Emotional?
Emotional overdrive, because the bill is not ready. If the president decides to sign it today, is he going to sign daily graphic or what? The bill is not ready, you understand? So I want the process to be speed up, you understand? And Reverend Intim Fojo and his team, this is an advantage for them. They should even push pressure, make sure that the bill matures. Once it is transmitted to the president, then you hold him by the neck. If he doesn't sign, then you get him, you understand? So I think we need to take our time. You see, we need to understand that aside everything that we are doing, people are also watching everything, because my concern is that if a young person out there sitting home and watching what is happening on our political landscape, the question is, what is that young man learning? Because the level of dishonesty, the double standard, everything is too much. And again, let me
lend some credence to Intim Fojo for leading and being consistent on that project of anti-LP.
He's a very dishonest person. And when he was called to come and defend, he was running away. It's such a cowardice position. You cannot be trusted.
Okay.
And last one.
Yes.
The position, the president comment that it is not a priority. I think that has to be contextualized, you understand? Because President Mahama was denied a certain honorary degree because of his public position. So it cannot be said that the president is for LGBT. That is a demonstrable fact. So to say it is not, how do you call it, a priority? The president is somebody who deals with thousands of documents on his table. And until the bill is transmitted and comes onto his table, it cannot be a priority. So it is not being a priority is different from not being important. That distinction has to be made. You understand? That's why I'm saying there are a lot of emotional overdrive in this conversation. If you're able to situate this in a context, maybe you can have some understanding. You understand?
Priority and importance.
Yes.
A solution matters to you.
Priority and what?
Importance.
Listen, let me greet you this morning together with my brothers in the studio. It is important that we put this matter in right perspective, as it's a serious matter.
Yeah, you're pulling up some facts or some...
Because you see, we keep talking about LGBTQ, and my mother in the village, she doesn't understand this subject matter. So I always try and break it down for her to understand it. For our rural folks, they are the people that I believe in, and those on the street too. Not you bourgeois who, when they go and read any psychological books, they come and spew all sort of garbage. LGBTQ is a lesbian, gay in our local parlance is true, man sleeping with man. woman sleeping with woman. That is what we are discussing here. But if anybody had told me that after 25, 30 years of my life, this would be a subject matter for discussion, I wouldn't have believed it. We are normalizing it. You see, leaders must make their followers' life very comfortable. I don't see why Samaya must have difficulty this morning. Why did he make the statement? In all sincerity, that statement made by, what's the name, Felix, has actually caused damage to the president. The image of the president has been bruised, if they care to know. Because you see, the Ghanaian is very silent, but the Ghanaian is very powerful. They observe a lot of things. Any shift in position, then the trust levels. Mind you, a lot of Ghanaians now have a lot of confidence in President Mahama. So that statement that it's not a priority has actually caused some damage.
You feel he should be apologizing?
He has to. The president must come out clearly and say that indeed it is not a priority, so that we deal with it mano a mano. It is not a priority. What are we talking about?
You just heard Ivan say that, publicly speaking, the president has suffered because of his position on this LGBT.
You see, even the timing of the statement is even wrong. The man had been denied a so-called honorary degree. What was that going to do to it? That Lincoln. Lincoln, so what? There is a Lincoln University behind you. You can be given those honorary degrees. What do we do with it? People go to Yale, Harvard. Why did Ken Ofori Atta attend school? They go there and come and do all sort of nonsense in our economy and say, Lincoln. What is Lincoln? So against that backdrop, if a statement comes in the posture or nature of it's not a priority, then people feel that you want to appease or kowtow to the crimes and caprices of those institutions. That's why you're making this statement. So for me, it was needless, and that must be condemned. And the president, together with this administration, must be told at all given time that it remains a priority.
It is a priority for you?
It is a priority for me. It must be a priority. It's a priority for my family. I don't know about the rest of you.
Yes, but he asked the question, if you wake up in the morning, what will be the first thing on your mind? It's about...
You see, he talked about health. Health being a priority. Is that not the case?
And the
LGBTQ has health component.
The economy also.
No, but the health component. If people, men are going to sleep, the ramifications of it will feed into your health budget. So it cannot be something that will be isolated from the general well-being of the economy. It's very important. You understand? And when you make such statement, remember the majority, they also listen to the president. The majority in parliament. So that statement would feed into the narrative that, it's the reason why parliament is not even fast-tracking the whole process. You understand? Which may not be the case. So for me, that statement was needless and has battered the image of the president, and he must, as a matter of urgency, find ways of trying to atone for that sin. Because you see, and I come to Agyapong.
So how are you going to redeem that?
Don't come to me.
Yeah, you'll come to me.
Oh, I will come to you definitely.
But how will you redeem that? If you
he has to come and clarify that the priority.
So
the president himself.
The president himself.
He has to.
Not Felix.
No, Felix. That's why he said at the point. Sammy was saying that it's a priority. Going against him in his boss position.
He says,
because you see, it cannot be a position that he will be articulating, and I will be very surprised because I have been in opposition with him. I have been on a number of platforms, and one of the things that you must always keep your eye on is to be consistent. You understand? It was not good yesterday, and it cannot be good today. And the president at all material time, up to this day, nobody has faulted him for not passing the LGBTQ because the document has not got into his desk. But if he himself come out and say that it's not a priority, then it becomes a problem. That is why I'm saying that the president must come and tell us, redeem himself. It's very important because propaganda and perception is all politics is about. You see, in the case of President Akufo Addo, he made his position known to everyone. Everybody in this country.
Oh, he did?
Oh, on Al Jazeera. He didn't even speak in Ghana. He said it was bound to happen.
But bound to happen in the future.
No, which future? He said, and he went on, and that's why I realized that President Akufo, where was he coming from?
Future?
He said, when we power pressure, there hasn't been too much. He was even giving clues.
But that's a normal political process.
Well, how can the president of this land say that? You go and sit on Al Jazeera, you are pleasing the Western world that it was bound to happen. The pressure was that low, they must increase it. When he said that,
but Solo, he didn't ask that they should increase.
But
you know, because when he was doing that, yeah, he didn't say that.
He is the reason why we are discussing this topic today.
Yes, I said that.
He and his government, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, that he wants to praise. They are the reason why we are where we are today. After that, what did we witness? We had an advocacy center, resource center for LGBTQ opened in this country. The Australian ambassador had got the nerve.
The previous one, not the current one.
They all think alike.
Yeah, okay.
But the previous one went to the Speaker of Parliament to even further the discourse that, look, LGBTQ was a matter that the country must adopt. And Speaker Bagbin told him that he was not going to be assailed. I don't know why Speaker Bagbin is also of late quiet on this matter. You understand? So that was when Ghanaians became alarmed about the situation. Remember the NAPO situation that we were discussing, where they were trying to push those sexuality education here and there. So the NPP must be the last political party to be talking about it.
Oh, but Dr. He just told you that
sometimes I don't get him. That you know very well that your records are not good. So if I were you, what I would do is that you will come here on the poster of Mr. President, please, we suffered on this. Don't go on a tangent. Try and then fast track it. You win some sympathies from the people of this country. You don't come and sit here and pretend as though we have forgotten only last 2 years. Anytime I see President Akufo Addo, I remember LGBTQ.
Really?
Anytime I see him, I remember LGBTQ. Because...
So are you for real on this matter?
Absolutely. A president that got the bill. The bill was sitting on his table that he was supposed to sign. Remember, at the presidency, it's one ticket. It means the bill was also on the table of the vice president, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia. The two of them refused.
Oh, it's
one ticket.
I mean, if you take the laws of this country, the one who signs ultimately is the president. You can't link that to Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia. So, and in fact, going by practice, his faith, just as President Mahama, does not allow that.
So let's, you see, sometimes you always want to dodge the vice president from all.
You have the Constitution. Is that the Constitution?
So let's go into the presidential oath and the vice presidential oath. And let's see whether there is a difference between a vice president and a vice president. You see, the oath that the president takes, he says, I, in this case, then was Nana Akufo Addo.
Yes.
I, Nana Akufo Addo, having been elected to the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana, they even mention the name of God. These people, the name of God, solemnly swear that I will be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana, that I at all times preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of Ghana, the Republic of Ghana. I won't go that much. Go to the Vice President.
The Vice President, okay.
The Vice President, I, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, having been elected to the office of the President, do in the name of the Almighty, he said, Allah. You see, we are even using Allah and God here. Solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and true to the Republic of Ghana. The two of them, what's the difference? They swear one oath. And it is the reason why no vice president's face appears on a ballot. So that when whatever is attributable to the president, you share the same glory.
So you are trying hard to link this to Dr.
No, Dr. Mahamadu very much, no. During those days that the bill was on the table of Nana Akufo Addo, Nana Akufo Addo traveled like 2 weeks in those occasions. Anytime a president travels, it's the vice president that acts.
The
vice president became president, and it was still there. He didn't sign.
But you can't sign. I mean, what power?
No.
If you are acting as president?
No, when the president is not there, he acts as the president. He chairs cabinet meetings.
Yes, but you wouldn't have had the capacity.
What are you talking about? So as for the NPP, the least said about them, they legitimize and weaponize LGBTQ. And they must be the last people to be talking about this.
Bless, yes. And you see,
you wanted to come to
and I agree with Solo entirely. The problems we are facing today because of LGBT.
It's made your work so easy for you.
No. You see, I've always stated about. You see, sometimes we must be morally careful in our society. When you know that you are the reason why we are where we are today, you must not come and sit on TV like Ezekiel has done and pontificate as if you are the best thing that has ever happened.
But you have the political power.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Do you know that the Supreme Court doesn't sit on Friday? Under the NPP, they actually made sure that the Supreme Court sat on Friday. I know from where I sit. I know. Listen. I know a Supreme Court judge that was eating fufu at 10 a.m. on Friday. He was called to come to the Supreme Court by 10:30 to come and hear a case that was brought forth.
What you're saying is
by Aremeyaw. No,
you have evidence to
yes. He was eating fufu.
But it's not cast in stone.
They called him that. Listen. They called him that Aremeyaw had brought a case.
Yes.
So he should come and sit on it when the Supreme Court doesn't sit on Friday. Yeah. But when it comes to issues of LGBT, the former Chief Justice who has been sacked, the one who has been sacked, make sure that they never sat on the case.
Dr. Aye, then I'm applying
when a frivolous case was brought.
I'm applying that analogy to what you're failing to do. Let me make my point. As a government,
I'm saying that
you also have the power, the political power to act now.
Listen, and we are acting. I'm saying that we had every opportunity to pass this stage.
Yes.
Every opportunity.
Yes.
They didn't do it. Now, the very members of... No, when we were in opposition, we made sure that the bill was sent to the president. Yes. We made sure that it was sent to the president. The president didn't sign. Now, NPP is in opposition. Instead of them to put pressure and make sure that the bill actually matures, they have left the parliamentary chamber. They are standing outside holding press conferences when they are the ones supposed to sit inside and make sure that the bill matures. And now they turn around to come and blame everyone apart from themselves. That we should make sure that the bill is signed. When you know that the president does not even have any bill in front of him.
You understand? When you were in opposition, you were mounting pressure on the government because you didn't have the political power to do anything.
Yes.
Do you have the political power?
We have the political power now. That is why.
Why haven't you passed it?
We have the political power now. That's why just when we came into government, we have been able to table.
You have the power also for certificates of agency. You are not triggering that.
You are, and I heard him comparing certificate of agency on D-levy to an LGBTQ plus matter, which involves people's human rights, where people can actually be arrested and what have you. You cannot just do that. It needs to go through the processes. It needs to go through the necessary consultation so that every other matter is captured into it. So that comparison. Listen.
Respecting the rights of people.
So that comparison. Listen. So that comparison is a completely baseless comparison.
Yeah, but I'm asking.
Listen to me. I have told you that. When President Akufo Addo issued that bogus statement from his president through the executive secretary, there was no court case.
But I'm saying.
There was no court case.
There was.
The date for which there was no court case. There was no court case.
The president is not barred from signing.
Yes. That he signed it. There was no court case.
Nobody must.
He lied to this country that there was a court case because when he was issuing that statement, Richard Sky was also in his office. They were planning to send the case to court.
He even exposed Richard Sky.
Yes. But you have not this before they sent to court. So they put in all the machinations, all the shenanigans, all the fetters to make sure that the government escaped from that. Now they have turned around and blaming the NDC. But I can assure you, just like the president has indicated, that when the bill is brought to him, he's going to sign, and we should have respite in that.
The burden is now shifting onto you.
Anyone listening to us should weep wherever the person is. And I feel so sad this morning. It's been a while I triggered my emotional senses. Wow. But this morning, my emotional cortex.
It's not working.
A party that used God to campaign on LGBTQIA+. A leader and a government that said, as for me, me a Christian. As for me, I'm a Christian. As for me, I attend assemblies of God. So when I come, I will not just allow Honorable Sam George and Honorable Intim Fojo to even table any motion in Parliament. My government will lead the bill.
Is that what President Mahama said?
He said it will be a government-sponsored bill.
Did he say it?
I have, in fact, my producer is telling me that he has that video.
It will be on 13th January.
2020.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that's what the president said.
Thank you very much.
Sammy. But the speaker told
I kept quiet.
He actually advised the president.
I kept quiet.
Exactly what happened.
The president who has given us his word had already declared his religious position, invoked, assembled all the top men of God to pour oil on his head like Moses, draped through his beard.
We have the video. Do you want us to
draped? Please. I'm comparing him to Moses. I'm comparing him to Moses. Like Moses. Please. I said oil poured on his head, and like Joseph made reference to Moses, made reference to Moses, draped through his beard, on his chest, through his toe, right, and evoked Christianity and tenet of Christianity.
Dr. Agyapong, you know that.
And promise. I likened it to Moses. To say that the anointing ran through his face and got onto his toes. After telling us that, as for me, I'm a Christian.
Yes.
When Christ says we can do all things, we are being told today by associates of NDC that it is Akufo Addo. It is Akufo Addo. It is Akufo Addo who is the reason why. Who is the reason? Sammy, keep quiet, Sammy. Who is the reason why? Who is the reason why? Come on. Who is the reason why Akufo Addo is the reason why he is no more a believer in the tenets
but your Sunday school is now being
assemblies of God. The president who has assured us that it ceases to be even a business of parliament, my government will take it upon itself. We are being told today that Akufo Addo, who is resting at home at Nima, is the reason why the president cannot act on his promise this morning. And Ghanaians, the Catholic bishops, the assemblies of God, leadership, yourself, Blessed, myself, our in-studio panel, and every Ghanaian that is speaking today, we are being told that we are being unnecessarily emotional because what? The bill has not gotten to the president. So anyone who thinks like the NPP and our press conference, anyone who thinks like the Catholic bishops, anyone who thinks like the 93 to 98% of Ghanaians who believe it's a priority. We are being told by associates of NDC today that we are being unnecessarily emotional. When the same people when the same people, as you rightly put it, before any bill was even considered, had mounted pressure, it was seen as a necessary thing. Today, associates of NDC telling us today that any Ghanaian who has issue, let me finish. Any Ghanaian who has issue is being emotionally unnecessary. Just to finish. No. Solo mention of Bawumia, and it's very clear. Yes, Solo mention of Bawumia. I understand my brother Solo. That even if we are discussing why Hamatan was not in full effect in December, right? Because of my brother Solo would make sure he links Dr. Bawumia to Hamatan, right? That at no point in time, did any bill get to Akufo Addo's desk. At no point in time did any bill get to that Dr. Bawumia's desk. He is not the president. The bill did not even get to Jubilee House, let alone land on the president's desk. And that is the fact.
Blessed, I think, you see, we need to situate this conversation in a proper context. Until that is done, we cannot elicit the proper response we seek to aid us to, situate this whole thing in the context that would help all of us. You see, this desperate political equalization attempt is robbing us the quality of political debate we should be having on matters such like this. You see, they did it to us, so we too, we are doing it. If you are not careful, you may find yourself in the political gutters. But unfortunately, the consumers of current political dispensation, the young people coming, are very assertive. They are very rational. They dissect issue. They understand. So I would suggest that they did it to us. We are doing same to them. It's not a sort of knowledge.
Is that the case?
No, that is the case.
I told you that Fojo has been consistent.
No, he hasn't. I said that guy is not trustworthy. Let me put it on record. He's not trustworthy. So for him, let's put that particular thing on record. But you see, the consumers of today's politics are very rational, very articulate, they want to understand. So it is better not to peddle that narrative of seeking to justify because they did that. Because the fact of the matter is that today, nobody in the NDC can come forward and say that LGBT is not an important issue. Nobody, not even the president.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.